I'm Camille Abbe. In this series, I'm going to explore the vibrant culture of the Tuscan countryside. Together, we'll visit some of the artisans, chefs, and farm holiday inns the Italians call agriturismo that all contribute to making Tuscany such an enchanting region. In this final episode, I'll start with a visit to the grand Villa Pittiana, just east of Florence, before moving on to the ancient knife-making town of Scarparia. One afternoon, I took a drive through the hills east of the Valdarno, past the small villages of Pomino, Borselli, and Pelago. The winding road took me past isolated villas and medieval churches. My destination was Villa Pittiana, a beautifully restored hotel and restaurant. The heart of the building is a 12th century monastery. But inside, the hotel is elegantly furnished and hardly monastic. At the bar, I met Roberto Focardi, the restaurant owner and manager. He took me to the kitchen to get a cooking lesson from the young and very talented head chef, Claudio Vignali, whose amazing cooking I had sampled in the restaurant a couple of days before.
Allora, I piatti che oggi andiamo a fare?
Allora, io avevo pensato a uno straccio verde al ragù di cinghiale in bianco, tipico nostro, ma da 7 anni, il portabandiera della nostra Villa Pittiana. E poi avevo scelto un carré d'agnello di queste terre che lo alleviamo noi direttamente, in mantello di salvia e pepe nero con dei fagioli zolfini di contorno. Sugo, cioè cipolla rossa, carota, sedano.
As I watched Claudio cook, I realized that the actual recipes for the dishes are very simple. It is, as is mostly true of Tuscan cooking, the quality of the ingredients and the technique that make the dish.
Al momento lui è ben tostato, come vedete. Aggiungo un goccio di vino bianco,
Fresh pasta is essential, and Claudio demonstrates the basic technique, running the dough through the machine several times to get the proper thickness.
This is very important to pass more than one time the piece of pasta, so you stay really quiet when you make these things. Because if you are a little bit stressed also, the pasta can feel this thing. No, it's
very zen.
This is an old history in Tuscany. But
Roberto was quick to point out that at home, every self-respecting cook would be rolling the dough by hand. This is the finished pappardelle con cinghiale.
we put also.
Claudio likes to use the dish's raw ingredients in his presentation.
You think a glass of wine? Yes, I think so. After the interview, Camille.
I was speechless.
He likes to leave all the...
The next course is rack of lamb with the tomato and bean sauce.
A little bit of extra virgin olive oil.
Certo, of course.
Lo mettiamo in forno per 20 minuti.
Fagioli with bacon and sage. So he prepared separately. Yes. And now
Io li metto li metto per fargli vedere a loro che stanno in famosi fagioli all'uccelletta.
Claudio spreads on a paste of breadcrumbs and sage, and he sticks the lamb back in the oven for a couple of minutes.
Just to give some flavor on the top. Just at the end of the cooking, and we put the middle of the plate.
It's finished with a drizzle of local extra virgin olive oil.
Now we make, so he makes, not me.
This was undoubtedly the best lamb I have ever eaten. For dessert, we skipped the cooking lesson entirely, and Claudio served me an incredible tiramisu, a liquor-laced coffee and mascarpone cake that is, well...
I mean, it's too much. It's too much.
Leaving Pittiana behind, I journeyed to the quiet province of the Mugello, north of Florence, and visited the fortified town of Scarparia to learn more about its famous knife-making industry. Scarperia was founded by the Florentine government in 1306 to secure the Mugello and guard against invasion from the north. My first stop was the Coltelleria Saladini, a relatively young but highly regarded company started by several master knife makers.
Poi a Scarperia veniva fatta tutta la lavorazione dei coltelli italiani, proprio perché Scarperia sorgeva su una via di comunicazione molto importante tra nord e sud, perché si passava da Firenze per andare a Bologna e quindi a tutto il nord Italia. Compravano il coltello per difendersi dai briganti lungo la strada, perché allora c'era proprio povertà e brigantaggio.
Historically, Scarperia has made knives in the styles typical of many Italian regions, each with a history and reason for its design. These dagger-like knives have origins in southern Italy.
È proprio un discorso di cultura, anche napoletani, cioè chi ha il coltello è visto come un uomo di rispetto, un po' perché intimidisce, no? Perché però è un discorso poi anche un'impronta virile, perché infatti ci sono alcuni coltelli che hanno simboli proprio virili, proprio riconoscibili.
Across town, at the Coltelleria dei Fili Concili, known as CONAS, I saw the range of beautiful knives they make. These are called coltello d'amore and are given to couples as engagement gifts. This blade is created using the ancient Damascene method. The pattern is the result of a long process of folding and hammering different types of steel together.
E questo è per...
Fermo l'arma, questo.
Grande. Nice. Feels cool. I mean, it's a really comfortable little unit, should I be a hunter in mine.
From the store, I went to the CONAS factory to see how knives are made. Many of the handles are made from horn, and stacked on the factory floor are bags of horns from buffalo, antelope, and cattle. The process begins by slicing the horn into smaller pieces. The pieces are toasted for color, flattened in a vise, and cut into the standard length for a particular model. In this case, a Sardinian style called the patata. Holes are drilled, and the two halves are joined together with a metal plate between them. The blade is attached to the handle, which is then further shaped and polished. Finally, the blade is sharpened and the handle is buffed to a shine.
Well, the maestro of the house gave me a little present just for me. It's beautiful, right?
Traveling west, I went to the village of Capizzana to watch the autumn olive harvest and see how olive oil is made. Filippo Bonacorsi's great-grandfather purchased the large estate of Tenuta di Capizzana in the 1920s and turned it into a leading producer of wine and olive oil. At Capizzana, they grow a number of different olive varieties that are blended together to create the best tasting oil.
This variety is different also like flavor. The Pendolino variety have very few oil and very perfume. We have flavor of banana, of fruit, exotic fruit. Lecchino is another sweet variety. It's very elegant, not very strong, and good perfume, but not so big in your mouth. The result is that the blended of this variety is better than single variety, because where finish one variety, it becomes the other.
In the Frantoio, or olive mill, Filippo has overseen the transformation from the use of traditional millstones to a modern system that he swears creates a more flavorful and delicate oil. Olives must be crushed within 24 hours of picking, and here at Capizzana, it usually happens within hours. The olives are first washed, and most of the leaves and small twigs are removed. The olives and pits are then ground up, resulting in a thick, oily paste. The paste is passed into a centrifuge which separates out the oil. New unfiltered olive oil, called Novello, is a bright green color, and its powerful peppery herbal flavor is to regular olive oil as fresh vegetables are to frozen. The new oil is then transferred to the traditional orchaya before bottling. The terracotta orchaya are still considered the best containers for olive oil. With the taste of fresh olive oil still on my lips, I went further west toward Lucca, where just outside the city I stopped into the spa called Grotta Giusti. Tuscany has many spas, hot springs, and terms, but I was told that Grotta Giusti promised a unique spa experience.
This is my outfit, and it's everyone's outfit here. Whoosh, whoosh. In one of these many rooms, I'll be getting my mud treatment. I really don't know what that means here, but I think it's gonna be messy. Tucked into this mud sausage. It's like encased in mud. It's great. It feels really great, and it's hot.
Bye-bye. While I was being baked in mud, the crew discovered that a club of Fiat 500 enthusiasts had gathered in the spa's parking lot for a weekend rendezvous. The 500 is a beloved and slightly comical mini car that was made in Italy up until the mid-1970s. You can still see many of them on the roads today, with younger and taller Italians squeezed into the cars that their parents ride in comfortably. After my mud treatment, I headed down into the grotta that Grotta Giusti is named after. This is the heart and soul of the spa, and the reason I was here. The natural cave was discovered in 1849 by a local farmer and quickly purchased by entrepreneurs who turned it into a profitable destination with many claimed health benefits. The grotta is actually a series of adjoining caves named Paradise, Purgatory, and Hell, each progressively hotter and more humid than the last.
It really is about 98 degrees and 100%, almost 100% humidity in here. And this is supposed to be paradise.
I didn't stay for the full recommended hour of treatment, but I did visit all the caves.
So you really appreciate purgatory and paradise when you've been to hell. It is hot in there and so humid, but I think it is great for your skin. There's also a lake down there where you can see this clear water bubbling up, which is what creates all the humidity in the air. It's pretty cool.
I I left Grotta Giusti refreshed and went to explore the walled city of Lucca. Lucca is a perfect city to explore by bike. So I rented a bicycle and after a brief stop at a cafe, spent the afternoon sightseeing. Lucca is said to be the first town in Tuscany to have accepted Christianity, and dozens of beautiful churches crowd its narrow streets. This is the Church of San Michele. Its stunningly detailed marble facade was begun in the 11th century and took 300 years to complete. Riding deeper into the city, I came upon the Piazza Amphitheatro.
It's built on the foundation of the Roman amphitheater that was here 2,000 years ago. And you can see from the walls these round houses all around the piazza that it's basically the same shape as it's always been. I'm up in the Torre Guinigi, and from up here you can see an amazing view of all of Lucca and the surrounding countryside.
The Torre Guinigi is the last of the medieval towers that were built by Lucca's powerful families to protect themselves from rivals and display their wealth. Towers like this were the skyscrapers of their day, and were also a secular challenge to the power and authority of the Catholic Church. Lucca remained an independent city-state long after the rest of Tuscany fell under the control of the Medici of Florence. The key to its independence was the thick defensive wall that was built around the city in the 16th century. The wall that once protected the city from invasion is now capped by a tree-lined path that Lucca's citizens and visitors enjoy on leisurely walks, called, in Italian, passeggiata. On the city's walls in the golden late afternoon light, Lucca feels like the most civilized place in the world. My final destination is to the northwest corner of Tuscany and the towns of Pietrasanta and Carrara.
I'm enjoying a beautiful breakfast here in the Albergo Pietrasanta, which is a spectacular hotel in the center of the town. Pietrasanta is on the northern coast of Tuscany, and I'm here because I'm going to visit the marble quarries up in Carrara, which is just a little further up the coast. And then I'm going to come back to Pietrasanta and go to a marble school.
Pietrasanta's proximity to the marble quarries has led to its development as a major art center of the region. Obviously, marble is prominently displayed, but the town has also drawn artists such as the Colombian painter Fernando Botero, who painted these murals in one of the town's small churches. Driving into Carrara and seeing the white up high on the mountains, I first thought it was snow, but it's actually marble. The great marble mountains of Carrara have been quarried since Roman times, and they've supplied sculptors and architects ever since. Giuliano Domenici is the director of this quarry, called Cava Gioia. He tells me how they extract the marble.
E ha una lama, no? Con una catena che entra nel marmo e taglia.
The giant saw cuts the marble into big blocks, which are then sliced into flat pieces by diamond-coated steel cables.
I romani lavoravano in una maniera diversa, facevano un taglio nel marmo mediante un martello, e poi mettevano dei coni di legno che poi bagnavano il legno praticamente ingrossava e quindi spaccavano il marmo.
Over behind me you can see the line where the black and the white they meet, and this line above is not marble and below is marble. So you pretty much have to take away the top to get to the bottom, which is a lot of work, as we can see. This hillside over here to my right used to be 400 meters taller than it is now, not too many years ago. Pretty soon we were just saying we're going to get a view of the ocean. While looking at this disfigured landscape, I had to keep in mind that the marble quarried from these mountains has provided the substance for some of the world's most beautiful works of art.
Che Michelangelo vedeva dentro al blocco quella che era la statua e lui diceva che toglieva praticamente quello che era il marmo che circondava la statua.
Descending from the quarries, I stopped into the small village of Colonnata, which is famous for another white substance, lardo, or pure cured pig fat. The pigs come from Siena, but the fat is processed into lardo here in Colonnata, and it's a specialty. This is what it looks like. You can call it prosciutto bianco if you want, but really it's still lardo, and it is delicious. Back down in Pietrasanta, I visited the Marble Sculpture School of Kyle Smith, an American who's lived here for over 20 years and leads intensive workshops for budding sculptors.
Well, it's a basic workshop that runs for 3 weeks. In 3 weeks' time, we go through basically the stages of from roughing out a sculpture to finishing a sculpture and polishing. The students learn the different processes, the different tools, have enough time to acquire the basic skills for then being able to carve on their own when they go back home.
There's stones flying everywhere, so I'm going to wear this and be safe. By teaching these workshops, Kyle is continuing the tradition of marble sculpting in these mountains. It's a tradition that thankfully seems to be in no danger of dying out. Tuscany is a land that is truly blessed. With its natural beauty and glorious history, it is a jewel in the crown of Italy and a destination for travelers from around the world. But as we've seen, Tuscany is much more than a pretty face with a past. The magic of Tuscany is in the present and among the people who have a genuine respect and love for the land. It can be seen in the farmhouses and villas that blend seamlessly into the landscape. It can be tasted in the cooking that uses ingredients that are first and foremost local and fresh. It can be felt in the work of artisans and their time-honored techniques. And it's a magic that visitors who choose to stay in the agriturismos can experience firsthand. In this series, we've seen only a part of Tuscany. Many places have been left out, and countless stories have gone untold. I encourage you to find them and live them for yourself.